Hey guys, Rumblin' Man here, and in today's video, we are going to be taking another look at Glarry basses, specifically their GJazz bass, which is a traditional J-style bass. We're going to hear it, talk about it. I'm going to tell you a lot about what I think about Glarry, the hardware they make, so make sure you stick with me. Real quick, let's listen to this beautiful bass in a mix. So guys, very cool. It's interesting that a bass that costs $85.99 can sound that good in a mix. Obviously, you know, like any usual time, you know, when you record bass guitar, you know, you do some tweaking and you really use your ears when you listen to that mix in the making process. But it's impressive that you can get sounds that good out of an $86 instrument. I think that's neat. Okay, guys. So welcome to the Rumblin' Man channel today. My name is Rumblin' Man. I am a producer, a live musician, and a YouTuber based in Florida. And I thank you so much for being here with me today. If you've been watching my channel for some time, you know that in the past I reviewed a Glarry GP bass. This was back in 2019. You know, when a lot of things were different in my life and in the world. And I did review one of their basses. And then proceeded to make upgrades to it, and we had a fun little series with that. But I wanted to take another look. You know, it's been over a year now since I reviewed the $75 P bass, and I wanted to take another look because the further I got in the process, the further I realized that there's some things about Glarry and their basses that aren't bad. There's some things about these basses that even though they retail direct to you brand new for less than $100, there are some things about them that are all right. So I want to kind of highlight some of those things today. I've got a link in the description of this video. You can check out my old review of the GP bass by Glarry. And to look at the J today is definitely a blessing. So we're going to hear it lots. We're going to talk about it. And I think the first thing I want to do is just kind of let you hear the pickups, the sounds it makes in the pickups. It's interesting. The pickups, Glarry pickups, they're not that bad. I mean, with any budget instrument, you know, you get ceramic pickups, you know, you get more affordable in stuff. But I remember when I got the Glarry GP bass, the first upgrade I made was to change the pickup, right? But after I changed the pickup and listened to my demos again, I kind of realized that the actual stock Glarry GP bass pickup really isn't that bad a pickup. It actually sounds okay. You can totally record with it and play live. And I want to see, you know, is the jazz bass, is it cut from that same mold? You know, is it something that you can play stock? That's really something we're going to look at today. Can you play this thing stock? Well, real quick, let's listen to the sounds it makes. So we're going to listen to these pickups. First, we're going to listen to the neck pickup, and then both pickups, and then the bridge pickup. But we're going to do this with the tone knob rolled all the way off. And then I will play through those pickups again with the tone full at 10, just so you can hear, you know, what kind of dynamic range you can go to and fro with as far as the tone knob is concerned. And then toward the end, I'll, you know, try to do a little slapping on each pickup as well, just to let you hear. And honestly, yes, we are, you know, running everything through the interface of the Zoom B3 today, but we're not going to use any effects on this particular part. I want you to hear the pure sound of these bass pickups so that you can decide for yourself how they sound. Let's check it out. So it's interesting. Some of those tones are all right. In terms of the electronics and the sound of this bass, I will say it can be kind of a noisy bass. Obviously the science of jazz basses with the reverse polarity winds of the two pickups would be that when both pickups are turned on full, it should eliminate most of the hum that we hear when we listen to single coil pickups. This bass could be a little noisy on all ends, but there's several things that could really contribute to that. And I've heard some guys say that it was kind of a noisy bass, but other guys say it wasn't. So I don't really know. Maybe it varies model to model that you get in your hands. But something to be aware of is that, if you're good at doing electronic work or soldering, or have a friend who is, or have a tech who is, if you're not digging, the way it sounds in the electronics, you can always revisit that and get it worked on. You can always upgrade the pickups. So pretty cool. I also want to mention the stock strings are Glarry's house strings, and they're not that bad. That's another, quick upgrade I made last time, and we'll do that this time too. But it's interesting. The stock Glarry strings are not that bad. They're not offensive to the touch. They feel to me like a set of pure nickel strings. I mean, they might not be. I don't know what they are. But to me, they have the feeling of nickel-based strings, and they don't sound bad. They kind of have a sound that's, got brights in some of the nice areas, but kind of a more deadened, nickel-y kind of sound. So really, the Glarry bass strings aren't terrible strings. They're strings that a lot of people would actually probably like. So let's talk hardware. After I practically disassembled the first, Glarry that I had, I came to discover that the hardware on the Glarry really wasn't that bad. Originally I assumed that the bridge was kind of a rinky-dink bridge, but really the Glarry bridge is just fine. Honestly, I've seen bridges that were worse quality than these. And it's fine, really, and for adjusting, it's fine. It really is. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't have any complaints about the bridge. I will say this. So with today's video, I am going to do some work on this bass, but I didn't do work on it in advance because I wanted to review it for you the way it comes to you from Glarry, the way it ships directly to you. That said, I did do a couple things. I did raise one of the saddles, and it just to eliminate a little buzz, for a better playing experience. And you know what we ought to do here and now is we ought to just go on and take the plastic off the pick guard. There we go. And so this bass is available in a few different colors, and I looked at them and thought, I don't have a white bass, so I got white. Also, the knobs, these style knobs, when I originally saw the picture, I thought, okay, so those are going to be some cheap knobs. But really, the knobs function just fine. No problems turning them or using them. Perfectly good performance out of them. Really not bad. And then the Glarry tuners, they really aren't bad tuners, honestly. I mean, you can upgrade. You can upgrade to something affordable like Music Lily. Or go higher end, but the tuners really, I don't really have any complaints. They seem stable, they seem fine. I haven't had any trouble with them. And honestly, I like the back plates on the Glarrys. They provide the plastic under the metal, which is kind of a nice touch. There's a lot of affordable end companies that don't do that. The string tree on the headstock is pretty much the same as my Rondo string tree. So it's interesting. In terms of hardware, I don't really have any complaints. So if I did have complaints about this bass, what would I complain about? What would be my complaint? Well, I'm going to tell you that in a minute. But first, I know something that you probably know as well, and that's that metal bass players really like to use jazz basses. They really like to just plug in a passive jazz bass and play it with a pick. I think that they like to do that because of the way a jazz bass cuts through a mix. You can get some good punch with a jazz bass, but it really cuts through in a nice way. Sounds really cool through an amp. So let's try playing a little bit of overdriven music with some amp simulation and take a listen to this kind of demo and see, could you potentially use a Glarry bass in a heavy rock or metal setting? Let's listen. All right, so for my one complaint, now keep in mind, I say all this stuff is absolutely fine, and it is. Keep in mind it is a budget instrument, so the parts aren't as good as hip shot parts. You know what I mean? The body is not going to be up to the same specs as a Fender or even a classic Vibe Squier. But what I wanted to say today is that it's really not a bad product, and honestly, for around $86, I think it's well worth it. If you have no means of getting another bass, and your only option is to order a Glarry for that price, I think that's absolutely fine. My one complaint is the neck. I'm just not crazy about the neck. Kind of like we discussed in my last reviews of the GP bass. The Glarry neck is the chunkiest neck that I have ever played on a bass. In terms of neck finish, I don't know if any finish was actually applied. It seems more like an unfinished neck to me, which is what you would expect of instruments that are made around the $100 price point and less. So it's extremely chunky, extremely wide, and then the fretboard. Just kind of taking a look at the way the fretboard sits on the neck, it's definitely not a perfect job. It's really not a perfect job applying the fretboard. It's really not, as nice an experience with a neck as you would get with, some other companies. But that said, other than that, I don't really have any complaints about this fretboard. It feels fine. But then when it comes to the actual fret job, which is the way the frets are placed and crowned, it's awful. Like totally awful. You slide your hand up and down the neck. you totally feel like, you know, in the right context, you could cut your finger. You really do. And I don't know what to tell you about that other than that you can dress your own frets. There's plenty of tutorial videos right here on YouTube. And so obviously that's something that I'll be doing with this bass as well. So for my liking, you know, what I did last time was get a new neck. Well, what if you don't have, you know, the budget to get a new neck? Something that I'm probably going to do is I'll probably sand down this neck quite a bit and see if I can sand enough out of it to make it to where it's not so chunky to put my hand around. And then maybe I'll have a better playing experience with it. And then obviously you want to polish off those fret ends because that's a pretty terrible fret job. And then the nut, I mean, is obviously going to be a stock plastic nut, but I haven't had any trouble with it as of yet. So really, other than my complaints about the neck, I don't really have any complaints about this bass. In fact, an interesting thought crossed my mind while shooting the playing clips just a little while ago, and the thought was this: how would it sound with flat wound strings? Because you know what? P basses are known for being so great with flats, but I've had a couple times in my life where I've put flats on a jazz and was super happy with how it sounded. Very cool vintage tones that kind of have a little extra treble cut to them. So let's put on some flats and see how they sound. I've got a set of Rotosound Monel flat wound strings, jazz bass, that I have had. They've literally been on 3 or 4 different basses. I've had them for over a year, so they're pretty worn in. So let's slap those on and let's listen to how this Glarry Jazz Bass would sound with flat wound strings. So in case you couldn't tell in the video, I actually really loved the playing experience. And so as I've been talking to you today, I've had the flat wound strings on, and I'm probably going to keep flats on this, at least for now, because I am going to make some changes. You know, I am going to do some setup work. Also, I will be upgrading the pickups pretty soon. I think I can't spoil it just yet, but I believe I know of a set of jazz bass pickups we'll be reviewing in this bass. So cool upgrades to come, and as I do them, you know, as I do various things to this bass, I will, you know, document that here on the channel. But I don't necessarily intend to go all out like I did last time. You know, I don't intend to like go buy a high mass bridge and stuff, just because I think the hardware on this is fine. You know, I think if you can just get it to where it meets your personal preference for playing specs, and you know, get some pickups in it that you really like and strings on it you like, and get it to where it's a bass that you could use, that you could record with, that you could play live, I think you've kind of done your job there. So, you know, you invest a little bit here for a great modding platform. And so I'm thankful to have another chance to check out this Glarry. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. If you're not yet subscribed to the Rumbling Man channel, I would love to have you as one of my subscribers. So please click the subscribe button. and become one of my subscribers here on YouTube. Also, go ahead and hit the bell icon, as it will literally like email you and give you updates and stuff when I come out with new content. We got a lot of cool things coming up if you love bass and if you love guitar. So we're not going anywhere anytime soon, at least I pray not. So also, if you would be willing to give me a thumbs up button on this video, that would be great, because then YouTube would be more likely to recommend this video in searches for this product. And I've tried to give you, a review today that's opinion-based, but that's also accurate. And I've tried to give you some good demos. So I hope that this video, though a little longer than some of my other videos, I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. Okay, so thanks so much, and stay right here tuned in on the Rumblin' Man channel. We've got more stuff like this coming up, and I love to have you along. Okay, so God bless you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.